Well, sometimes we say it, not all the time, but the Rays are doing something pretty cool. In partnership with Visit St. Pete Clearwater, the Dream Team Sweepstakes.
I'm very excited about this because we haven't shared each other's teams yet. So we're going to go through that. And of course, it's Fun Friday. So we got trivia and Name That War. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays and all the other traditional podcasting platforms. You can also find us on the socials, X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. So, as we alluded to in the open, the Rays are doing what's called a Dream Team Sweepstakes presented by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and it allows you to go online to their website and create an all-time Rays roster by selecting one player from each position. All submissions will be entered into a raffle with tickets, autographed items, and a grand prize presented by St. Pete Clearwater. There's also other little gifts, including a 2-hour Topgolf St. Pete experience with friends, a Rays player, and a 2-night hotel accommodation in that area. And I honestly didn't know about this until the email was forwarded to me. And then Ulises, I saw that you participated in the exercise and put it out on your social media channel. I don't know if other organizations and franchises are teaming up. I don't know if this is a league-wide initiative or specifically a Tampa Bay Rays initiative, but it's a pretty cool thing to unveil in the offseason to continue engagement and interest in your organization. So I'll just lead off with that it's a really cool thing. And get on it, folks. The deadline to enter is December 31st, and you have to be 18 years or older to enter.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's the off season. Like, this is the time where we can, be allowed to have some frivolity in baseball. And I really enjoyed making it. I know that you did too, but I do have a question for you. It says Topgolf with a friend and a Rays player. Is that correct?
Topgolf with, I believe, 3 friends and a Rays player.
Okay. So my question to you is, and you can be as honest as you can, Kevin, all right? People are watching you, okay? And people are hitting that like button, and they're subscribing to the channel right now as you're answering this question. Do you think that you can beat a Rays player, any Rays player, just a single Rays player, if you play Topgolf against them?
Yes, I could.
Let's go.
Yeah, I could definitely beat many Rays players in Topgolf. Could I beat a guy who's a avid regular golfer, i.e. a Curtis Mead? Probably not. But
okay,
I could beat a guy who hasn't picked up the sticks very often. So
let's go. Okay, folks, there you have it. I love it. And with that confidence comes the confidence of making his own dream team. Kevin, why don't you show us your dream team?
Yeah, first? So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that baby. How should we start? Should we go infield to outfield, outfield to infield?
You're the Kevin Cash or the Joe Madden in this scenario. So you lead us off however you want.
I'll go outfield left to right and then infield around the diamond as well. So the left fielder, and the way it works is if you've not participated in this, you got to go to the website, and it basically gives you a bunch of names to pick from or for each position. And then you pick that one name that you want to be part of your quote unquote dream team. In left field, who else but Carl Crawford? I don't think much explanation is needed for that between the hits, the stolen bases, and everything that he accomplished across 9 seasons in a Devil Rays and Rays uniform. Center field, as much as I love and wanted Rocco Baldelli to have a flourishing career, I had to go with the outlaw himself, Kevin Kiermaier. The Gold Gloves speak for themselves for sure. Right field, and really you could put this gentleman anywhere and everywhere in the diamond, more or less. Ben Zobrist. And I think Ben Zobrist, he was, the way that they had the selections mocked up is Ben Zobrist was only available for the right field selection. And it's like, you can't really create a dream team without including Ben Zobrist in some shape or form. So he is my right fielder. Anything you want to add before I move on to the infield there?
Yeah, I think this is a probably the most common, if not obvious, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's the chalk selection.
it's the chalk, right? Like you cannot leave CC off, you cannot leave KK off, and Benzo. I mean, I know I wouldn't personally put him in right field, but if that's the only option, which it was, you're right,
Yeah.
it was the only option to pick him. You can't leave Ben Zobrist out of a Rays dream team. My goodness, this guy is amazing. So yeah, I think that's a pretty solid outfield, and it might be mine too.
Okay, there we go. I guess you would have put Zobrist at second base if you had your
I
brothers.
would feel more
Or shortstop.
comfortable. Yeah, I would feel more comfortable with Ben at second base than at right field for sure.
Okay. Yeah. What he did between 2006 to 2014 speaks for itself. And he was actually recently in Tampa for a speaking engagement that I was there for. And man, he is a really, really good orator. I could see him being a future coach or manager, or I think he's kind of doing this already, is going on the speaking trail to talk about his experience, his faith, and just helping professional athletes or would-be professional athletes navigate all the challenges that come with that. All right, so moving on to the infield, third base. Yeah, as much as I might try to get cutesy and go for Wade Boggs, gotta go with the one, the only Evan Longoria, of course. Shortstop, if Wander Franco was available to be selected, I would have picked him, but he was not among the choices. So I didn't really love any of the options per se, but I went with Willy Adames just because upon his call-up was the resurgence of the Rays again between 2018 to 2021. And there were times where he really showed his potential and spark offensively and defensively. And we just know that that vintage smile and leadership and all-around good guy to be a part of the organization. Great ambassador for the Rays and baseball in general. So I stuck him in that spot. Let's hope that this dream team is playing on the road and not in the Trop. Otherwise, Adames might be going 0 for 4, 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts and just not seeing the ball when it's coming to him at home plate. Second base, I went with Brandon Lau among all the options that were afoot. At first base, as much as I would like to go for recency bias with Yandy Diaz, I have to go with the crime dog, the Hall of Famer, Fred McGriff. And just to look at his numbers a little bit, as great of a season as Yandy Diaz had, Fred McGriff had one or more seasons where his OPS was higher than what Yandy Diaz put forth this season. So that just puts into perspective the amazing play that he put together over his career and in a Rays uniform. At catcher, it was short-lived. Wish it was longer. He's gone on to have much success with the Atlanta Braves, but Travis d'Arnaud, man, he had some really, really special, memorable moments in his lone season in a Rays uniform. And it's also one of those cases where you look at some of the top moments in franchise history, he's probably part of one or more of them. And it just really speaks to me, some of the multi-homer games that he had and just some special things that he was able to do in a Rays uniform. And then you also have the option to select a team logo. So I went with the OG original Devil Rays logo with the transition of colors from yellow to green to purple. You got the black Devil Ray. I just think that's a special, fun look. So that is my dream team. There was no option for a designated hitter. There was no option for a utility player. There was no option for a manager. So I went with what I had.
I think you did a great job. I think we do differ in a couple of players, a few. But your pitcher as well, right?
Oh, my pitcher. Yeah. How can I leave this guy off? Mr. David Price.
That's right.
He probably could have been an all-star just about every season that he pitched in a Rays uniform, but the numbers that he put up year in and year out, very, very impressive. He was the first Rays pitcher to win the AL Cy Young after posting a 20-5 record with a 2.56 ERA and 205 strikeouts in 2012. Three-time All-Star selection in 2010, 2011, 2012.
No, that's a great team. I feel like that team would not lose a lot of games.
No,
everybody at their peak, of course. So that's a good one. But we do differ on a few names, and
okay.
I want to go over them. But first, I gotta tell you guys about Jase Medical, because whether you're on extended travel or you're bracing for a major weather event, which in Florida, you guys know that we do that all the time. Well, you're going to be covered, because Jase Medical, our partners, they have life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications that can be ordered in a 1-year supply. Even ED generics for Cialis or Viagra are also available. So go online right now at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. If you or someone you love would love to get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off your purchase. Again, go to Jase, that's JASE medical.com.
All right, Ulises, we went through my dream team. Now it's time to get to your dream team. And I may also add this. I may or may not have wanted to select or incorporate BJ Upton into the fold, but they had him at left field, and I can't pick him over Carl Crawford. So the way they slotted some guys seemed a little bit wonky, but I had to make the choices that were available to me.
Yeah. So for me, if you're on YouTube, you can see it. I do have the same outfield as you did. Carl Crawford on left, KK center field, right field Ben Zobrist. Again, the only place that Benzo was available to be picked. I would have rather have him at second, but right field will do. From third to first, I feel like BA right now. From third to first, Longo, of course. I mean, come on, there's just no other option. Shortstop, I wanted to go Willy Adames at first, but then the home numbers kind of I was like, if this game is played at the Trop, I'm going. He's going 0-for-5 with 3 Ks, and I can't have that. So I went with a guy that, for one season, he was going for that batting title. He was our first kind of like big chase for it. And so I'm going Jason Bartlett. I let the 08 to 2010 vibes get to me. So I did go for Jason Bartlett in second base.
And he was an all-star that year too. And I think around the all-star break, his batting average was up there around 360, and then it tapered off in the second half of the season. And then he finished with a 320 batting average, but you couldn't say that about Willy Adames. Willy Adames wasn't an all-star in a Rays uniform at the shortstop position.
It depends on what you're looking for. If you want a guy that can pop you 30 from the shortstop position, you're gonna call on Willy Adames for sure. I went with Bartlett. Second base, Brendan Lau. We agree on that. If he's healthy, he's going to be a menace in the middle of the order, especially against righties. If he can hit 39 bombs and 22 bombs in limited time like he did in 2023, right. That's a very good power hitter. At first base, I 100% agree with you on Fred McGriff. 100% agree with you. But looking at my team, I wanted more contact. I wanted people to just like move it along.
Yeah.
And giving the power surge that he had, I'm thinking Yandy would be such a good. I know we didn't say to write lineups, but if I were to write a lineup, I would just be putting Crawford leading off and then Yandy at second, batting second. And I feel like you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time, CC, and back to back with Yandy, and then you put Longo. Like, oh my goodness, that's just nasty. So I like that. At first base, I don't necessarily like him at first, but if that's the only option, there's no DH. Why no DH? Why no DH?
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to condense it, and it's like, oh man, there's too many selections. I don't have time for this. I'm not going to submit. They want to try to make it as quick and seamless as possible so they can get maximum submissions.
That's true. Maybe. Catcher, I went with Wilson Ramos, aka Venezuelan Bump. Met him. He's an awesome dude. And one of the best offensive catchers we've ever seen. I mean, just like all-star type numbers, especially in 2018. And people forget, I don't, but people forget that he was the main catcher for Snell's Cy Young season. People forget that. So he wasn't just an offensive catcher. Like, you see a lot of pitchers give props to their catchers. Snell did that whole year with Wilson. So I think that's something to take into consideration.
Here's a good idea, is that if Blake Snell at the time or any pitcher, they get some sort of bonus or monetary reward from winning a Cy Young, they should split or give a portion of those winnings to their catcher or catchers, their battery mates.
That's cool.
I think that would be a cool little ad.
You know what I think?
I think really, I mean, in any interview that is given, I mean, I can't say that I listen to all or any of the award ceremonies, but I would hope and wish and believe that any pitcher that wins an award like that gives credit. Hey, I couldn't do it without my catcher X, Y, or Z. Like, yeah, I feel like that is really, really important and imperative.
I'm pretty sure that this might not be talked about a lot. It gets talked about somewhat, but I think pitchers might, if they win the Cy Young, I wouldn't be surprised if they give their battery mate like a nice watch.
Yeah.
A nice something like that, because they couldn't have done it without them. They had to, before they had to put the fingers down and now they just have to press a button. But, regardless, the intent is the same.
Right.
And
hey, a quarterback doesn't get sacked over the course of the game. They take their offensive lineman out to a steak dinner and pay for it.
There you go. Exactly. Hey, thanks for protecting me, but I like not having concussions. For my logo, I went 2008. I just wanted a fresh start. 2008 has the beginning of what we all really enjoy, which is winning baseball, winning race baseball. So I picked that logo. And then as for my starting pitcher, I went with my favorite all-time starting pitcher. If you guys have been Locked on Rays listeners / watchers on YouTube for a long time, you know this. It's the Cobber, Alex Cobb. I give that man the ball, and I don't doubt it for a second. And that was such a cool thing about Alex Cobb. Like, he just had this mentality. And one of the things that I like most about Alex Cobb, you know how I feel about Jose Molina. You know how I feel about him.
That he's the fastest catcher in Rays history.
Basically, the antithesis of that statement. One time, you must remember this, and I know a lot of Rays fans do. Jose Molina failed to block a pitch that was blockable, and then there were men on base, and he lollygagged. So that the guy took an extra base. At the end of the inning, Cobb got into Molina's face. And then they started a little kerfuffle, if you will. Love that about Cobb.
Yeah.
Like Molina being a 15-year veteran, but did something wrong. And Alex Cobb, a sophomore, junior in the league of a pitcher, goes, hey, you know what? That was wrong. You cost me something. That's not how we play the game. Like, I love that attitude.
That bulldog mentality, just like Evan Longoria confronted BJ Upton after lollygagging on a ball that was hit in deep center field, and he jogs after it like he's got nowhere to be, and there's no importance or time constraint or anything like that. Jose Molina, definitely, I would say the lesser of the Molina catching family, Yachty and Benji up there as well. Before we move on, what would you say your most difficult or challenging selection was as far as the dream team goes?
Good one. I think it's either first base or shortstop.
Okay.
It's between those two because I do agree with what you said with McGriff. I do want Yandy in the game, but there's no DH. If I could have my cake and eat it too, I would put McGriff at first base and I would DH Yandy, but I can't, so I have to put it there. And then for shortstop, he who must not be named is not an option. Duh. Yeah. So then you're left with, guys that had maybe peaks, but not stability, a constant production. So I went with the peak of that, batting title chase from Jason Bartlett.
I'm surprised they didn't add like another name or two to shortstop. I mean, just throw out Yunel Escobar or something like that.
Adami Hechavarria.
Maybe, yeah. I'll say for me, the maybe not the toughest. I guess it was the toughest that I maybe gave the most thought because I wanted to pick more than one because there were so many options and opportunities. Was the starting pitcher. And they actually probably should have added a relief pitcher angle, but I know that they're not trying to muddy the waters there. But when you just look at, the legends in the pedigree of that position, like at first I was Scott Kazmir because that was the first, name recognition that called to me when I was first following the Rays, and the Rays were on their upward momentum and trajectory. It was like, they got a pretty darn good crew there and a guy that's helping lead them to the promised land. But and I'll just run through them real quickly. Scott Kazmir, Tyler Glasnow, Matt Garza, Shane McClanahan, Blake Snell, Chris Archer, David Price, James Shields, Zach Eflin, Alex Cobb, Jake Odorizzi, and Charlie Morton. Pretty good list. Pretty good options of dudes there. So
pretty good list.
So we want to hear it. We want to see it in the comments. Give us your dream team. You could, screenshot it or bullet point it out. We'd like to see what you all have to say or think. You could also email us your selections, lockedonrays@gmail.com. All right, without further ado, it being a Friday, let's move on to baseball trivia and name that war. Ulises, what do you have in the angle of baseball trivia?
Well, unfortunately, by your last 70 seconds of information, you might have beaten my trivia question out of the water because my trivia question for today is, Kevin, doing this dream team got me thinking about pitchers, starting pitchers. And the question for today is, who are the top 10 leaders in ERA in franchise history? Normally, I would tell you, hey, give me 5 of 10, 7 of 10. Buddy, today's going to be difficult because I won 10 out of 10. Go.
Okay. Now, are these all starters or relievers?
All starters.
All starters.
Yes.
And there's no denominator of they had to pitch at least a year in a Rays uniform. I mean, you could theoretically have a starter that, pitched for a couple months and was out the door.
True. So I will tell you that all of these pitchers had at least 3+ years in a Rays uniform.
Okay. All right. Well, I could basically just go on down this list and start there. I'll go with David Price first.
Price is correct. He leads with a 318.
Okay. Your boy Alex Cobb has to be on the list.
Alex Cobb is number 3 at 3.50.
Shane McClanahan.
Strike one.
Not on the list because he hasn't pitched at least 3+ years, I guess. Okay. Matt Garza.
Correct. He's number 7 at 3.86 ERA.
Tyler Glasnow.
Strike 2.
Okay. James Shields.
Correct. At number 9 at 3.89.
Chris Archer.
Correct. At number 4 with a 3.71 ERA.
So Glasnow and McClanahan are not on the list. Did I mention Kazmir already?
Kazmir is number 10. You did not.
Okay.
And he has a 3.92 ERA. So far.
I guess I'll say. Ooh,
Hold up.
Hold
up. Just so everybody knows, you've said David Price, you've said Alex Cobb, Chris Archer, Matt Garza, James Shields, and Scott Kazmir. So you've named 6 out of 10.
Okay. I don't know if Charlie Morton pitched long enough. I'm going to hold off on him. I'll say Jake Odorizzi. Just going off this list again. I think I could be wrong, but I'll wait.
And you are correct. At 382. I thought that was the name that you were going to miss.
Okay. Jeremy Hellickson.
Very good. He's number 5 at a 3.78 ERA. And now you're missing number 2 on the list and number 8 on the list.
Are these number 2, I would think it's got to be pretty obvious.
Number 2 is very obvious, just because of the time that we're living in. I don't know if that's a good hint, so don't take too much for granted on that hint. And number 8, he tugs at your heartstrings. And number 2 number 2 and number 8 have something in common with each other.
Oh, how did I not mention him already? Wow, I've gone this far without it. Blake Snell.
Very good. He's number 2 with a 3.24 ERA.
Wow. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I guess, even though we talked about him yesterday. No, I'm not going to go Andy Sonnenstein. You mentioned tugging at the heartstrings. I don't know if you're referring to Blake Snell, other guy, just because of his wayward career. I'm going to throw it out anyway. Matt Moore.
Matt Moore is correct. Yes, he's number 8 with a 3.88 ERA. Very nicely done, Kevin. It's Price, Snell, Cobb, Archer, Hellickson, Odorizzi, Garza, Moore, Shields, and Kazmir. Very nicely done.
It's not a bad pitching group in the least. All right, so now moving along, changing gears to Name That War. Ulises, what is Name That War for the folks that aren't familiar?
Name That War is when we take a player from the past and we try to guess their career war according to Baseball Reference, only using our Baseball Archive mind. And so for today, Kevin, can you surprise me with that Name That War?
So my guy was a player on an organization that is dealing with a lot of controversy and dysfunction and confusion, and a major stadium issue, the Oakland Athletics, as they'll be, I learned the other day that looks like they'll be playing in multiple locations over the coming years as they are unhoused or homeless or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, just such a horrible situation.
Yeah. So they're going to have, I guess they're going to play games at AAA Park in Nevada, Oracle Park in San Francisco, and other areas as well. This is not a drill. It's legit, evidently. But I wanted to go blast in the past to a guy that played with this organization and had success with this organization during their stronger years, their Moneyball years, if you will. Mark Ellis. What is Mark Ellis's career WAR?
That is a name from the bleeping past. Holy crap. Mark Ellis. Okay, so let's just let's rub the eyes a little bit.
Yeah. Have another swig of coffee.
Another swig of coffee would be nice.
Wait, that's not coffee. That's something else. It's a little early for that.
Throw some Kahlua in this.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark Ellis, infielder, I'm pretty sure. Very agile, like a cat, like a cougar, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Had a solid bat. I want to kind of, I don't know, maybe this is an easy comp. Matt Chapman-y guy, but maybe I'm thinking on the wrong side here. Okay, I'm going to go with Mark Ellis. Played a dozen years. Let's go with 2 WAR for a vast majority of his career, like 7 years. So that's 14. Then you got 5 years left. And then let's give him a 4 WAR season one time. Right? So that's 18. And then a couple more just above replacement. Let's go with 23 WAR.
Mark Ellis, fun fact, he was born and reared in South Dakota. Not many ball players came from that area. Over his career, he played 12 seasons in the bigs, mostly with the Athletics, a couple years with the Dodgers, a season with the Rockies and Cardinals, respectively. Looking at it right now, he had a 92 OPS plus, 711 OPS, 384 slug, 327 on base percentage, career batting average of 262.
Oh no.
105 career homers, 550 RBIs, 690 runs scored, 82 stolen bases, over 5,000 at-bats in his career, 1,300 plus hits. No Gold Gloves, no All-Star appearances.
Oh, God.
No Chrome, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. But you mentioned something intriguing. Cat-like quickness and defensive superiority. Mm-hmm. That makes a difference. That makes a big, big difference because Mark Ellis's career WAR, what was your guess again?
23.
Oh, man, you must hate Mark Ellis. You must think he's dirt on your shoe because his career WAR is 33.5.
Whoa, with those offensive numbers, that is impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I remembered the cat-like reflexes from Mark Ellis. I might have not remembered anything else, but I did remember the reputation. That's something that, kids watching this, reputation matters. Okay. Mm-hmm. People will remember you. Okay. What you did, how you make them feel, so be very careful about that. Mark Ellis, good job on your reputation, buddy. Because I might have not remember anything, but I remember the cat-like reflexes. 33 with what'd you say? A 327 on base and a 389 a slug?
384 slug, 711 OPS.
Ooh, wait. We might have, wasn't the correct counsel also kind of surprising that he had 42 home runs and he had a 22 WAR or something like that?
So kind of in that angle, yeah, for sure.
Wow. It's amazing that he lived in a non-analytical let's put the best gloves on the field type of baseball, and yet he got to play for 12 years. That's really cool.
Well, there was fielding percentage as a very rudimentary metric, and he posted a career .991 fielding percentage, the 5th best all-time for a second baseman in MLB history at the time of his retirement.
Look at that.
So the numbers didn't lie there for sure. So, all right, hope you all enjoyed that and enjoyed this episode. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.